How excited are you just to return home?
It's a big excitement. Really, it's just good to get out here and just be able to see my kids, man. It's been tough with the COVID and travel and different things like that. I don't try to have my kids be on planes a lot or, run the risk of putting themselves in any harm. So just being able to be around them and just, feel their energy was a great, past 2 days that I had with them, and I'm about to go and probably spend the rest of my night with them leading up to a leave tomorrow.
When it comes to this trip as a whole, you guys go 5-2. How would you quantify, how would you assess from a whole team standpoint what you guys were able to accomplish on this trip?
Honestly, I think we was able to build both offensively and defensively. We definitely seen incidents where we don't, ways that we don't want to lose a game. We lost 2 close games, and, we just, basically saw ways that we can lose a game, and put ourselves in a position to, have calls go either way. And then it's a fight all the way to the end. And then at the same time, we've seen instances where we have a chance to be really, really good, really great, I think so. It's a learning process. We're still doing it one game at a time. But, like I said, I think we got great leaders on our team, and those guys are going to lead us in the right direction.
For you personally, another very efficient night offensively. What was it you were seeing within the Hawks defensively that allowed you to be so effective?
Just, doing all the little things I do anyway. Trying to put myself in a good position in the offensive rebound. Guys have great confidence in throwing me the ball on the post and on the block. And, a lot of confidence in my offensive game. So, it's a big, honor, especially with the guys I'm on the team with. But, just being able to get them as open as possible, and 9 times out of 10, I end up with the ball. So, I just try to make sure I finish one of those guys. I make the pass and make the play.
Thanks, Tress. Enjoy the fam.
All right, thank you, Allie. It's over. The longest road trip in the NBA. 7 different cities, 7 different games in 12 nights. The Lakers finished 5-2 on the road trip. They almost stole one for Philly, close to being 6-1. The other loss coming at the hands of the lowly Detroit Pistons. Picked up a couple of big ones in Milwaukee and Boston, and a nice one here in Atlanta to close it up. Lakers are 12-2 on the road this season. We bring in the Laker insider Mike Bresnahan.
He missed those long road trips, don't you, Brad?
Brez used to travel on all those long road trips.
I don't need to go to Detroit every single year of my life, but yeah, I definitely miss some of these fun cities. And you know what else I'm not missing? The Laker defense, because it is back, right? Like you mentioned on that graphic there, they lost to Philly. That's acceptable. And then they lost to Detroit. What'd they do? They played some defense, all right? They obviously held Boston to 95. And, of course, tonight holding a very good Atlanta team to 99. That's 8 times now the Lakers have held an opponent below 100. In today's NBA, that's pretty special. And that last minute for sure.
Good work, Mike. And, yes, we all miss Rajon Rondo. Rob, let's specific things.
I thought that they played really good defensively. They kind of shut down the paint, even though Capella got some points in that. Like James said earlier, the last game is always the hardest game. And you're thinking about getting home, seeing your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, fiance, what it is, you're sleeping in your own bed. And sometimes you can lose track of where you are. But these guys stay pat. They play good defense. They had a couple of lulls there where, they went on an 8-0 run. They went on a 10-0 run. But the thing is, they won the game. They hunkered down, and they played really good and got the dub.
Yeah, I remember Big Game James talking about going 5-2 before the trip. You told me, James, on air, you would sign up for that right away, and that's exactly what they did. You knew this would be a tough trip. You looked at the teams they were playing. That fourth quarter, James, was huge. You're seeing the highlights right now. 11-0 run to start the quarter, James. Then a little stagnant there. Hawks went on a big run, but the Lakers closed on a 9-0 run, and the 2 superstars, big down the stretch. LeBron scoring the last 9 points.
And championship teams can do that. They had a lead, and they thought Atlanta was going to go away. They started thinking about getting on the plane, going home. They kind of lost their mental capacity. Atlanta kept fighting back. But then championship teams, they know how to, get back in sync. And I think when you have guys like Schroeder, who took it personally with Trae Young tonight in the fourth quarter, Schroeder wasn't getting any calls. He got up in Trae Young defensively, and then Caruso all over the place. Extra possessions, anticipating the pass, that big dunk. That's what they do. They're very active. And then Trez, he's always bringing the energy. So they did what they had to do. in the fourth quarter to close it out. And then the king, that's why he's called the king.
I think one of the things we haven't talked about is Coach Vogel doing a great move strategy and putting AC Fresh back in again in the game at the end of the game because we needed some defensive presence. He got that big steal right there, and he just did a lot of things that go unnoticed. Getting his hands on balls, doing things like that. And let's give the coaching staff a clap.
He drew that charge too. He did a lot of good things.
Yeah. So. I'm glad you guys brought up Alex Caruso. I mean, we all know it. Laker fans know it. He's a fan favorite, but everyone who watches games religiously, like we all do, you know what a winner is. He is, and you know what a big part of what the Lakers do is because guys like Alex Caruso play their roles. I mean, he started in a Game 6 of an NBA Finals. The Lakers started him. That is trust. That's trust from the staff, trust from the teammates, and there's a reason he's in that closing lineup. Big game James. And then tonight he gives you offense as well, but just the smart heads-up plays, the tough plays, the running down and getting in front of Jaylen Brown just to slow up the Celtics a couple of nights ago. He's just been fantastic.
There's anticipate where things are going, read the plays, kind of know where things are going in the flow of the game. He's really smart, and he puts his body in places where the action is. And he usually ends up, with a deflection, a charge, or aggravating the offensive opponent. He's a nightmare, and I don't think opponents like to see him. He's just really disruptive, and he's always got his head and nose on the ball in the game, coming up with huge plays. I mean, that stepping in there and that steal he had, and then that extra possession. We've seen that on this road trip at least 2 or 3 times where he's tipped it out and got big possessions. Those are huge plays.
But I also want to point out, you kind of mentioned it earlier, you always talk about a helpful assist. He saw what LeBron was complaining about a call he didn't get. He runs down and see the big not paying attention. He steps in front of him and draws that charge. Mm-hmm. That's huge because LeBron's not back. And they had the advantage. We know this team can score on the break, meaning the Hawks. So he took that charge, and he pretty much saved them 2 points right there.
And I appreciate you being a company man. You're talking about the helpful Honda assist of the game. That's coming later in the show. It's a very important part of the show to me and my friends. Yeah, man, listen, every game you look at his plus minus, and at the end of the game, James, it's always Alex Caruso at the top, plus 13, plus 14 tonight, leading the way. So.